Sound the trump in Zion. Raise the alarm on my holy mountain. Let everyone tremble in fear, because the day of the Lord is upon us. It is a day of darkness and gloom, a day of thick clouds and deep blackness. But suddenly, like dawn spreading across the mountains, a great and mighty army appears. Nothing like it has been seen before or will ever be seen again. Fire burns in front of them, and flames follow after them. Ahead of them lies the land, as beautiful as the Garden of Eden. Behind them is nothing but desolation. Not one thing escapes. They look like horses. They charge forward like war horses. Look at them as they leap along the mountaintops. Listen to the noise they make, like the rumbling of chariots, like the roar of fire sweeping across a field of stubble, or like a mighty army moving into battle. Fear grips all the people. Every face grows pale with terror. The attackers march like warriors and scale city walls like soldiers. Straight forward they march, never breaking rank. They never jostle each other. Each moves in exactly the right position. They break through the defenses without missing a step. They swarm over the city and run along its walls. They enter all the houses, climbing like thieves through the windows. The earth quakes as they advance, and the heavens tremble. The sun and moon grow dark, and the stars no longer shine. The Lord is at the head of the column. He leads them with a shout. This is His mighty army, and they follow His orders. Good morning, Patriots. I'm so glad to see you. I hope you guys are having a great day. I'm Melissa Redpill. I miss seeing you live. We had a holiday with our family for Thanksgiving, and so we've been gone. But I hope you enjoyed the videos that I had prepared. I hope you really liked them. I'm glad to see you guys over on the chat, and we're back in the saddle for a good while. So lots to catch up on. We're going to talk primarily today about this shooting, what is going on with that, and it's tragic. But anyway, we'll want to go into some of the details about what is going on, because this is not a game. The CIA is still infiltrated, and so there's no other explanation except that this is a real war. This is real. And, so we're going to win, but we just have to keep buckled in. So, hey, yes. No, it's real Melly. I'm back from vacation. I swam with sea lions and saw the little fishies and saw cliff divers. I didn't cliff dive, but I saw some. I saw just all kinds of great things. Plus, getting to spend time with our family, which is great because we're scattered all over the country, mostly in the South. But anyway, yes, so if you're new here, MelissaRedpill.com is my website. I'll show you that in just a second. But make sure to like, subscribe, and always share our information, because what we're doing is we're looking at how this is biblical. And I think there are a lot of people who really want to know that. Unfortunately, TPUSA has not been stepping up. They've just been talking about how to, everyone else is an anti-Semite. But what we really do here is we connect the dots about what's going on, what we see in the media, what we see happening around us, and how this is biblical. It's really like the verse that you just heard me recite from Joel chapter 2. We are this great army. The Lord has risen up. We've been waiting on this for literally thousands of years. And so pinch yourself that you get to be a part of this. And it's really, it's amazing. As that verse said in Joel 2, nothing has ever been seen like it or will ever be seen again. And so you are part of this amazing army. So congratulations that you heard His voice, that you were hand-selected by the Lord to do this amazing job. So thank you for being here with me, and I'm so glad that we are here together. All right, so hopefully I can get everything working. I'm very thankful that everything was working. It's a minor miracle. Okay, so let's talk about what is going on. Well, first of all, President Trump just posted this. There's a lot of chatter about J.D. Vance. Okay, here we are, people. It's 2025. Why is anyone even talking about the next election? Of course, because they are chomping at the bit to get President Trump out. They realize impeachment doesn't work, and so they're just hope against hope, wanting to get him get this this administration over, and they feel like they could, more easily control J.D. Vance. And so I'm telling you, this is very different. What is going on now is not just a 4-year election. This is the crossroads in the history of civilization. That's what we were told long ago, and that's truly the case. And we're going to have our sovereignty back. We will not be led around by the nose by King George or the the City of London or any of the elite, whatever you want to call them. This is the end of it, right here and right now. And so President Trump posted, though, Trump 2028, yes. And then Bannon had to respond, told you. So yeah, I'm up for that. I really am. I think that this was a ploy in order to have, if you ever had someone who truly did love our country, that they would, and that they would be able to stand up against the criminals, that they would be able to, we'll get them out and put in a puppet. That's the white horse of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, is always having in a puppet that they can control. And they cannot control President Trump. They cannot control him, clearly. They have tried. They've done everything humanly possible. And so what's the amazing thing is that President Trump, it's very interesting. Yeah, his hair does look silver, wouldn't you, 57. President Trump has been taking it straight to the criminal cabal. Amazing. And so it's one of the things that's very interesting is that, they were successful in assassinating those who fought against him. If you saw the videos, if you didn't see the videos that I posted while I was gone, please go back and go in and look at them, because we did a kind of a mini deep dive into these presidents before who had been fighting this deep state, criminal cabal, globalist bankers, New World Order crowd. And so they assassinated Lincoln. They assassinated FDR. They assassinated McKinley. But they have not been able to assassinate President Trump. I think they've all but given up. And so, right now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, this Charlie Kirk, and now they're threatening to assassinate Candace Owens because they can't shut the woman up. That tells you everything you need to know. Whenever someone is being shut up or throttled, then that's, they don't like what that person is saying. So if that's happened to you, congratulate yourself, because you are being very effective in the battle. We have been slammed in lots of different ways, but let's pray for Candace, because these people, this is not a game. Not a game. So I'm up for that. Trump forever, as far as I'm concerned. All right. So here is I want you to see what is going on with this terrible shooting. Okay. So this happened, and it's so strange, so terrible. But her name, Sarah Beckstrom, was being searched. Did you guys see this? I posted this on the social media, but her name was being searched a week before she was shot. This was not a random shooting. She was targeted. It wasn't just that the National Guard was targeted, but that she in particular was targeted. Now, of course, she was at the White House, and she kindly agreed to take the Thanksgiving shift so that other people, Thanksgiving week, could have off to be with their family. And so she paid, it appears, the ultimate price. I always leave room for, is something else going on? I hope and pray that there's something else going on. But anyway, so it was by, and I'm sure you already know this, but we're going to talk about it. It's by an Afghan CIA asset that was likely brought into this program as a young child. But, so for years and years and years, working as a CIA asset. And so now, of course, Anons found this, why would they target this girl? That's a very good question, Dawn Patriot Patrol. If anyone has any ideas on that, please post them in the chat. I'm not saying that I understand why she was targeted, but I will tell you the reason why they are attacking right now is because President Trump is cutting out the middleman with the tariffs. He's cutting, and then he also said he was cutting out income taxes, and that's all been going to the banksters, the New World Order banksters. That's, they're being cut out one way or another, and so that's why they're attacking. This is not a game. This is real, and so let's continue to pray for the National Guard because, this is real. Their lives are in danger. They're not just standing there. This was an ambush attack. And then we had a terrible shooting at a mall on Black Friday, and then there was another terrible shooting of some children in California. It feels like the storm is upon us, that they're attacking us every which way, and that's, wouldn't unfortunately surprise me if we see that, because they will leave no stone unturned. They cannot stop President Trump. They know nothing can stop what is coming. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, potentially Zelensky fleeing Ukraine. So they are in the panic mode, and so they are trying to throw everything in the kitchen sink. So I think that they are doing this attack because of, here we're going to talk about all the things that President Trump is doing to remove them, to cut them out of being involved in any of the trade, in any of the income tax, all of that. And so they are fighting. This is how they fight back. And so we know they're the ones who do these false flags. So it appears very much that they knew that this was going to be the sacrificial lamb, so to speak, days before. I mean, there's no other explanation. And of course, now it's been scrubbed off the internet so that supposedly no one is supposed to know about this, but it's too late because we found out, our wonderful Anons found out about it, and they have shared it. So just keep sharing this information. Share it over on, we are on X. Share it over on Telegram, over on Getter, wherever you can. Here is my site, melissaredpill.com, and if you go to the let's see, right here, social, you'll see all the true Mellies. There's some fake Mellies out there. These are the real Mellies right here. Those links right there over on melissaredpill.com. All right, so now I wanted you to see this also. If you're thinking I don't sound like I normally do, I had a very strange thing happen. I had pray for me because I had an allergic reaction to something, and I think it was the bleach. Ever since COVID, they are bleaching the entire. We were on a cruise ship. They are bleaching the ships, and it's too much. And I eat very clean. I live very clean, and my body was like reject, especially since most of you know that I was poisoned, and I think my body was kind of thinking, hey, are we getting poisoned again? And starting to, have an allergic reaction. It was a wild deal. So I'm going to, I've just got back and I've started, I didn't take all of my, I love the EDTA drops. I don't know if you know about that, but anyway, if you go to my health page, let me show you real quick. And I don't know how long I'm going to stay on today because I'm just got back late last night, and we're going to try to get me going again, because I'm telling you, the allergic reaction was off the chain. But anyway, here on my health links right here, the detox. If you click on that, you'll see, actually, that's a really great one. These are actually on 30% off, just so you guys know, for a Black Friday sale. These detoxes are on 30% off, so definitely check into that over on freedomforce.life/detox. So I used bentonite clay when I was there because that was something I could get over the counter. But since I got home, I've started using the EDTA drops, because what happens with that is when you've got toxins that attach themselves to your nerve tissue or whatever, your lungs or whatever it is, then the EDTA drops can, this one right here, EDTA right there. And here's a video explaining it. It can claw them like a chelation to get this out of your body, because I'm like, you've heard of people, there being a train that derailed, and they're like, oh, people were inhaled this chlorine bleach, and so I think that's basically what happened with me. Yeah, so it removes all of these things. So that's what I've started to do to remove all these toxins and the heavy metals from my bloodstream. Yeah, it's a chelation process, and chelate is to claw it off. Anyway, so I'm sorry I'm not 100% today, but I will be. I just had to get home and get some of my regimen, because out there in the world, it's a wild place. It was just like a bleach ship. Yeah, and that stuff is toxic. It really is. Anyway, so but back to the story. All right, so I want you to see what Kash Patel said about this Afghani and who he is. Now he's saying it without saying it. So I'm going to let you hear what he has to say, and then I will break it down. But it says Ramanullah, whatever, Lakhanwal began spiking on Google Trends in Washington, D.C. hours before the attack took place. The claim suggests possible foreknowledge by unknown actors who searched his name long before the first shot was fired. This deserves careful investigation rather than instant dismissal, because the attribution in volatile moments requires precision rather than assumptions. Yes, thank you so much for that. So yeah, that was very, yeah, that should wake up a lot of people. What is going on, and who is really behind this? And that it was not a lone gunman, as we always know, and who is always behind all of these. You call them false flags, but really it's about a premeditated attack, and that this is who is behind it. Hello, we already know. All right, so here's what Kash Patel had to say about this person that he's basically what he's saying. I'll tell you before he says it is, this guy's been working with the CIA all these years. And so he's been led into the country. I'll tell you about how he's been in the country after Kash finishes.
I also spoke to Director of the CIA, John Ratcliffe, last night, and Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. There is confirmation now that the subject had a relationship in Afghanistan with partner forces. We are fully investigating that aspect of his background as well, to include any known associates that are either overseas or here in the United States of America. I also spoke to Director of the CIA, John Ratcliffe, last night, and Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. There is confirmation now that the subject had a relationship in Afghanistan with partner forces. We are fully investigating that aspect of his background as well, to include any known associates that are either overseas or here in the United States of America.
All right. So, yeah, because I played it twice because I was reading what Wolfie said. Thank you, Wolfie. Wolfie said he was poisoned. The mucous membranes undoubtedly are hypersensitive following the poisoning. He or she, whatever, Wolfie can't tolerate bleach either. And really, it's really surprising it didn't affect anyone else. But it's kind of like, and I'm sorry I'm getting off the subject, but it's kind of like when you go to Mexico, the people drink the water that's filled with parasites, right? But we go down there and our body rejects it. I eat very clean. I live in a very clean situation, and my body's like, no, don't let this bleach in. Reject. The light's flashing. Anyway, so it's because it's. But my body says it's not good, and I know that. Anyway, so, but I do want to be able to breathe. Breathing is good. We're going to get all fixed up. All right, so I'm thankful I have the natural remedies. My husband was saying he wanted me to go to a regular doctor. I'm like, oh, they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to fix it. Anyway, but thankfully we do. Thankfully we have the true remedies. If you haven't seen all that, go to freedomforce.live/health. You go to my, or Melissa Red Pill, but either way, and you go there and you just go to the health and you can look at all this. It's really very great to have true remedies. Okay, so I'm going to try to show you what is happening with this guy. It's not simply an Afghan Muslim migrant committing an attack. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's the Muslims. They always want to pit white against black, Christian against Muslim. That's what they always want to do. And we're not falling for it. That's not the case. That's not the situation. It's not your regular, vanilla Muslim. We're not playing that. That our problem is not with each other, and it's with those who are part of the CIA asset. And I'm very thankful that Kash Patel came out and said that. He's pointing the finger to that this person is not just a lone gunman who appeared out of nowhere. So this is a huge moment. I want to make sure that you guys hear this, how huge this is, that this is coming to the forefront. And I want you to make sure to share all this information. So I'm going to post this link right here. I'm going to read to you. I'm going to post it into the chat, and I know Songbird, my lovely Songbird, will post that over into the comment section. Here, it says it's not a simple story of an Afghan Muslim migrant committing an attack. No. Based on what is emerging, this case now involves alleged CIA-linked units, special forces training, U.S.-issued visa protections, a rushed post-withdrawal intake system, and unusual online activity before the attack. I just read that to you. They knew about this ahead of time. 2 American guardsmen are fighting for their lives. So at this point, when this was posted, but of course, we know that one has lost her life. So it's just terrible. The public deserves answers. Any information and more information is coming in by the hour. Okay, so here is the guy right here. Let me see if I can go back and see the picture. Okay, I'll just read this one to you. Public reporting says the unit reportedly carried out night raids, counter-terror missions, targeted operations on Taliban and Al-Qaeda, intelligence-driven strikes outside the Afghan chain of command. This is the kind of thing that he has been involved in. This is not just someone who appeared out of nowhere. This is part of his CIA background. These reports claim that Lakhanwal was part of the CIA-backed Kandahar Strike Force NDS-03, a covert paramilitary unit described as one of the most secretive forces of the Afghan, whatever, I can't see where that one is, but anyway, it's covered up. So this is who this person is, and he was brought in under the Biden administration, but there's something else going on till now because he was even approved under the Trump administration because, again, you've got infiltrators in the CIA who are still in there. And that's important for people to understand. Just because you've changed out to have President Trump, you still have all these resistors, all these infiltrators in these organizations. And even though you have good ones at the top, you still have the bad guys. And a lot of these have been let in and acting like they're A-OK. And President Trump, can't go and vet each person individually. And neither can even Ratcliffe or Kash Patel for that matter. Anyway. All right, so he is 29 years old. He wasn't just an Afghan migrant. According to multiple outlets, he was a highly trained veteran of the Afghan Elite Commando Corps, fighting alongside the U.S. Special Forces in Kandahar for over a decade, since he was 19. And so now there's confirmed U.S. government ties. Fox News and other outlets report Lakhanwal had worked with multiple U.S. agencies during the war. Former CIA Director Ratcliffe confirmed publicly Lakhanwal worked with the U.S. government, including the CIA. What else do you need to know? People need to understand this. People need to realize the connections that the CIA has been doing this all over the world, and now they have their guns aimed toward America. They're using the same. This is what's so bad. Why JFK said that the CIA had to be burst in 1,000 pieces, because they are attacking other countries, causing all this mayhem all over the world, installing their puppet leaders and all of that all over the world, and then doing these same things in America. And they are the very ones, as we know, who killed him. Right? So this is what we need to really help people understand and connect those dots. Right? That this is what we're up against. There are very evil forces in our CIA who are literally trying to fight the National Guard, trying to fight what President Trump is doing. And of course, this just came on the heels of the people saying we need to, defy unlawful orders. Well, then that leaves it leaves it up to anyone's discretion to say, "Oh, well, I believe this order is unlawful, so I'm not going to follow it." And so they're trying to cause mutiny in the armed forces, whether it's the National Guard, the Army, the Marines, whatever forces there are. And so this is what we're up against. That is why President Trump is saying that this is seditious and deserves execution. You've never heard so much discussion about execution until here just in the past week or two. And President Trump is very, very angry at what they've done because he knows this was an inside job, what happened to this girl. They're using it to blame the Muslims, blame this outside person, but that's not the case. The case is really boiling down to it's an inside job, as always. And again, this is so important for us to share that and to make sure everyone understands that important piece so that they are not angry with Muslims. They're angry with the evildoers that have infiltrated our government. And so that when President Trump does the arrests, then they won't mutiny. Okay? And also, we don't want, Hegseth is such a great leader. He is making sure that everyone understands, we're praying for this family who lost this loved one and understanding that we are in a war. We're in a fierce battle. And so that we have to be tough and we have to be strong. And just like you and me, here I am, and I was, for those of you who are new, I was literally poisoned because I've run my mouth and because I lead the Freedom Force Battalion. And I'm still paying the consequences, even though I was well, and I just had no idea that because of going through that, now my body is triggered when it has other, who would ever think, that. But it's okay. I'm fine to do it. I'm happy to do it. I am proud to be part of this battle. I believe the Lord will save my life and keep me alive until we see the golden age of health and wealth and peace. If you guys are new, you might not be aware, but I've written this book about what the wonderful future that is coming in the golden age. No more health maladies, no more, there's going to be peace all over the world, all that. So, that it's real. What I've experienced is real. And I'm sure each one of you has a tale to tell about how things are, what you've experienced. Family problems and all this that you've been under attack because you've opened your mouth. All I know to tell you, here I am still, and here you are still. We're still in this battle. We're going to keep fighting until we win. Okay? Just just continue to be strong and brave and just trust the Lord in the middle of it, right? Okay, so here's how he entered the U.S. According to the NBC News and other sources, he was granted a special immigrant visa in 2021 during the chaotic withdrawal. He later received asylum, and he's been living in Washington State. He has a wife and 5 sons. His relatives have not heard from him in months. I'm guessing that means his wife and his children haven't heard from him. So it also makes me wonder if it's an MK Ultra type of situation where he's been either way. And the picture of him when he was arrested, it looked like he was completely naked. I mean, so it's like they get people and who are on the tipping point and they push them right on over like a Born Identity type of thing where they use them like a robot. And so it's not, just saying, it's not normal to walk around, shooting people naked, right? So he likely has been abused, growing up in Afghanistan, and he's been turned into this killer. Right? I'm guessing. I'm guessing that's the case. And I'm sure he's culpable, but either way, the ones who are really culpable, the ones who are really at fault, is the ones who are leading this operation. So that's where my focus always is at the ones at the top of the New World Order. Okay? Not on the migrants, not on the Muslims, not on even this man, but on the ones at running this operation. Okay, he's just a puppet. He's just a useful tool. All right, so he was shouting Allahu Akbar. Now, I will say that Allahu Akbar, yes, they've used that term for evil. It just means God is great. Just because someone says God is great, that doesn't mean that phrase is bad. they're using that phrase, though, as saying that this is evil for someone to say Allahu Akbar. People say this all the time. The Muslims say Allahu Akbar all the time, and it's terrible that they've used that as something evil. Whereas, we have, the rainbow. We know that the Lord saved the world, saved, Noah and his family, and therefore the whole world was able to continue. And because he removed the Baal worshipers, all of them, and this beautiful rainbow is for us. They take everything that's good and they twist it, whether it's Allahu Akbar or whatever. They are, that's what they do all the time. Now, here's the Google Trends. Also, I just read that to you about the Google Trends. You already know about that. Congress should subpoena this IP data and to determine whether this was a coincidence. It just can't be a coincidence. How would you ever search the word Sarah Bergstrom days before she was murdered? But they have all this. What does that tell you? They have all this data. They know who is on the schedule to protect the White House. This is, they have. How do they have all this data? Because they're infiltrators in the CIA, right? All right. If the suspect was trained by the U.S. forces, tied to covert CIA-linked strike force, admitted through the rushed SIV pipeline, known to intelligence services, how did he end up shooting American soldiers outside the White House? And why was someone with his background not being monitored? Again, I go back to the answer to that is because of the infiltration in the CIA. And so that's really what they've got to get down to is the bad seed, the bad guys in the CIA have to be rooted out. Additional concern being raised by commentators, where are the rest of the KSF members who entered the U.S. under this same pipeline? It wasn't just him. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I'm just saying they're here. Thousands of them. And again, our anger isn't directed at all the Muslims or all the migrants. Our anger is always at the ones at the top. And so I don't know what's going to happen, you guys, but they're here, and I'm thinking that they're going to try to do even more. And that just very well could be the storm is upon us. That would cause us to have to go in and arrest these people. I don't know, you guys, but just be prepared. Okay, who approved them? Who vetted them? Who's tracking them now? These individuals were not ordinary refugees. They were part of an intelligence-linked force. We're calling for oversight of all of this. All right, and we need the full truth. We need the full story. I do trust Kash Patel. You know that President Trump was talking about Kash Patel and how he really trying to bolster and encourage the FBI, knowing that they finally have someone in this key role as the director of the FBI who is a good person that they can trust and the whistleblowers can trust. And so because they need to blow the whistle about who did these things, whether it's in the CIA or whatever organization, who is running this, right? And they need to blow the whistle. They need to expose them, and they need to trust. They can finally have someone they can trust in Kash Patel, and that's where there's a lot of scuttlebutt about Kash Patel's no good. I don't give that any. Never mind. I don't get that even the time of day. This is highly strategic. And I just trust President Trump, and I trust, Kash Patel. Now, I think I basically read all this. I wanted to show you one more thing. Let me see if I can find that one other link. I think I had that one. President Trump did say he's pausing all migration from third world countries and removing anyone who's not a net positive to the U.S. or is incapable of loving our country. So this is huge. This is, we're going to remove anyone who is in here to, there are a lot of people who come to our country just because they're truly fleeing and they need asylum. But there are those who are obviously like this guy who is working with the CIA, leaves his family for months on end, that kind of thing. And so I think more than anything, it's a matter of the world has to know, and mostly the American people have to know, so that President Trump can do what is necessary to arrest these people. And there won't be a huge, not only a mutiny in the in the military, but a mutiny in our country. That is the thing. And just like a drowning person, if you go to try to save them, and if you don't have a life preserver for them, they'll pull you under. And so that's why it's so dangerous. And that's why our job is to help people understand what's going on, that there are criminals who've infiltrated these organizations, and they have to be rooted out and removed. And so don't be upset if President Trump is going in to remove them. And, of course, they're doing everything in the world to stop that, even their seditious talk. And he says only reverse migration can solve this problem. They can't come into our country. What was it? Some crazy number, $1 billion, some crazy number of all the money, like in Minnesota, I think it is, Michigan, Dearborn, Michigan, that they've taken for the Somalis. They've just come in and taken all this money for themselves that was supposed to be for American citizens, and they've worked the system. And because, Ilhan Omar got into this position, this is the kind of thing we're saying, no, this got to stop. These people have to be rooted out and reverse migrate them, and they have to go. And they have to go, be in their own country, and they can't continue to just steal from us and come in and do that. All right. And so we all have to be tough and strong and say that we can't. This is for Americans. Right? We're here to help Americans and not just have someone come and raid our system. All right, so this was from, I really like real_Rob N. And so he's talking about the State Department official responsible for allocating this U.S. aid and bribes across the Western Hemisphere confirms on tape that despite the U.S. aid pouring over $4 billion into programs for over 4 years, the Great Replacement theory is real. The deliberate importation and protection of illegals is intended to fully alter and ultimately destroy the American and Western civilization as we know it. Oh, yeah. So all the good, honest, hardworking Mexicans stay in Mexico. All the pieces of garbage come to U.S. That's what he said. The Mexican government has no reason to stop it because their garbage goes to another country and sends money back to them. That's what they're saying. Okay, I want you to hear it from him.
Tell the world about this. There's a lot of things, but mostly with immigration. I wish people knew that we're letting in criminals daily.
The big issue for the Hill, for our region, is migration. So we poured a lot of money into Central America. Like how much? $4 billion over 4 years. But now migrants are coming from elsewhere, like Venezuela.
Somos de nacionalidad venezolana. Tenemos vuelo para Nueva York.
Entonces, compraste un vuelo con Spirit?
Sí.
40.
Sí. Entramos con la cita de CBP1 por el puente fronterizo.
So what is the end goal? Why aren't they allowing it? They want to change the demographics of the United States.
So our aid goes to female prisons in Mexico. Some of that, yeah. To help train them up.
I'm working with gender issues in Pakistan, so we're trying to recruit, retain, and advance more women in law enforcement. The question becomes, should we be spending U.S. taxpayers' money in our country on this issue? Women's that they don't seem to care about.
Secretary Blinken, how close are you to him? 5 degrees separation. This is such a niche industry that flies under the radar that the average American does not know. Most people don't know what we do.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much to you, Ranking Member Risch, all the members of the committee, and thank you for the opportunity to testify today.
He has briefings coming up in 2 weeks. He has briefings? Yeah, on the Hill, about the FY 2025 budget request. And that's with all the congressional people. Big issue for the Hill, for our region, is migration. Oh my. Stop migration. What are we doing to stop migration? He's not accountable for that, is he? Yeah, we do stuff for it. Oh, do you? Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize that. It's called the root causes strategy. Ooh. It's giving money to support and help people at where the origins of the migrants are, so they feel like they can stay there instead of migrating out. So it's Central America. It's what? It's basically Central America, support and development. Oh. So we poured a lot of money into Central America. Like how much? $4 billion over 4 years. Most places. It's a lot of money. Is it doing anything? I think for them, yes, but now migrants are coming from elsewhere. Right. Like Venezuela, so we're like, oh, this would solve that problem. No. So what does he say to that? That looks bad for the administration, doesn't it? Yeah. Oh, it looks bad for any administration because no one sells micro. It's like the end all be all, like pill for politics. Right. And I feel like if anything, the other side's gonna win because of it. I know. My dad used to complain about that. I'm like, oh, and like in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's not that much. And then I see the chart, I'm like, oh, that's a lot. Like compared to like 20 years ago. I was like, oh wait, they're on to something. And I don't know what to say to that. I really don't. I literally don't know. Like, what would the administration say to that? I don't know. And like I sit there too, and I talk with my coworker who like manages the migration for the systems, and we always talk every time. We're like, I don't know what we do. Like, there's no clear answer.
Do they do things in the foreign affairs departments that will have like this money going to these women? I mean, there's got to be some things that you're like, man, I wish I could tell the world about this.
Oh, there's a lot of things, but mostly with immigration, because that's the one that where the left is really involved in immigration. I wish people knew that we're letting in criminals daily. Like when I was in,
You have confirmation of that.
yeah.
You have confirmation.
Oh yeah. So all the good, honest, hardworking Mexicans stay in Mexico, and all the pieces of garbage come to the United States. And those are the ones that we let. We are literally, and the Mexican government has no reason to stop it because their garbage goes to another country and sends money back to them. Like imagine if the worst of the worst, and all the criminals in the United States were all going to Canada and sending back billions of dollars a year. Why would you stop that? I wouldn't even change the numbers of like if we let in 100,000 Mexicans a year, like let in 100,000 Mexicans a year, just change the quality of the applicant. Make the say 100,000 Mexicans, but you can't have been in the U.S. illegally, and you can't have a criminal record.
So what is the end goal? Why are they allowing it?
Truly, they want to change the demographics of the United States. They really do. Because I mean, no, honestly, the people from Nebraska, like my family's time, like Americans that have my family's been in the United States for 400 years. Traditional standard Americans are not leftists. Latin America's all leftists. And it's just, it literally is just to try to change it.
I hope you guys could understand that pretty well. It was another Veritas bombshell. So yeah, and what he means by garbage, I don't really like that word, but anyway, that there are people who come here who are literally coming to do crimes, and not all of them, but a lot of them are. And so that's what he's talking about, and a lot of the people don't understand that, and so they just, oh yes, they need something, we'll just get, where's this coming from, where's this money coming from, out of your pocket and mine. And so then the Americans aren't getting the resources that they need if they are in a plight. The other thing is, President Trump posted yesterday, did you guys see that, what percentage of people in our country right now, not citizens, but just of all the populace, do you think are foreign born? Anybody want to guess? I've asked a couple of people, and they're like, oh, 20%, 30%. My mom was the closest to right. She said 60. It's 53%. You can take over a country without firing a shot. You have all these people who come in who haven't been raised to understand about freedom and what it is to maintain a free society. And then they come in and they take from the system. And the same things that have happened to their country happened to ours. Their country was allowed to be taken over, right? That's just the truth. They wouldn't be coming here if it was a panacea, if they lived in a beautiful heaven on earth. And so now the same things that they've allowed to happen in their country they're wanting them to happen here. And that's what he's saying. That's what the people who are in charge is. That's excuse me. The people who are doing this on purpose. This guy's from the State Department. They are intentionally trying to do this to harm America. All right. So now let's keep going. So that's what's going on with. I wanted to basically bring out what's happening with this shooting. What's behind this? Who are these infiltrators in our government who are doing these things to us on purpose? All right, so connect those dots for yourself, and then you can help other people. You can share this video or share clips of it or whatever, so people can understand what's going on. Oh yeah, today Black Friday. Our wonderful friend Mike Lindell. He's going to hopefully be on the show with us on Thursday. He's got some specials. He's got some wonderful slippers that we love for the yummy. They're so soft and cozy for wintertime. He has those back for $39.98. He's got some beautiful Christmas pillows. Love it. And he's got the Giza Dream Sheets. Lots of great sales going on right now. So grab those. Get them ordered immediately. Go ahead and place your orders today. And so you can see the specials that he has. And yeah, he has been fighting so hard. And we just talked about on the last time we were together the connection with Venezuela, and I'm hoping that we're going to talk about that on Thursday. Is what are the most recent connections to show that how they started this with Castro and how they took over all the voting systems in South America, and then obviously that came to America. So yeah, we'll talk about that another time. But yeah, don't forget, go to mypillow.com/Melly, MELELLY, Melly, right there, mypillow.com. All right, so now let's talk about Zelensky. This looks like we are at the point of now not just 8 wars in 8 months that President Trump has stopped. Absolutely amazing. Now it's going to be 9 wars in 9 months. Zelensky is finished. I really do believe that is the case. Finally, we've known about the corruption for a long, long time, but now it's coming out with, everybody else is realizing what's going on with it. So it's very, very exciting to see. He was the golden boy, right? But then he's served his purpose, and he's going to be, quote, sacrificed. Now the question is, what's he going to do? Is he going to, get in a car accident, right? Or is he going to flee to another country? What do you guys think? Where would he flee if he was fleeing to another country? I think the cleanest thing is if they were to kill him off. But I mean, yeah, I'm just saying that's what they do. That's what they do when someone has served their purpose. But the problem is, then the other people are less likely to continue and to do their bidding. So what they end up doing is they say that this person, quote, died, but they've sent them off to an island somewhere to, live out the rest of their days, and because they've served their purpose. We'll find out. But the corruption is being exposed. His closest allies are already fleeing the country. Investigators saying the money was skimmed from the energy sector in Ukraine, while ordinary Ukrainians sat in darkness during the Russian strikes. Yeah, the good people who are in Ukraine have really had a very difficult time. And as I was just talking with my dear friend the other day, the people in the Donbass have historically been Russian. They speak Russian. They've always been Russian. They were taken over on the eastern portion, and they have already been liberated. And that's one of the issues. Ukraine is saying, no, that's our land. Russia's saying, no, that's our land, that's our people. They want to be Russian, and so that's no more discussion about that. Because I remember when Russia first invaded, when they first went in, the people of the Donbass over on the eastern side were rejoicing and having giant parades in the streets, so happy that they were being liberated. So they're certainly not going back to these evildoers, and this has been their land for, like I said, historically. So, but yeah. Everybody's realizing about the corruption in Ukraine. I didn't know if you guys saw this. I posted it, but I want to make sure. I know that you've been busy with holidays. The global machine that installed him is now dismantling him, and the Western support has collapsed. It's going to be interesting to see what are they going to say when they see that Zelensky is, the golden boy that they've been talking about. Oh, everyone save Ukraine. What are they going to say? How are they going to spin this? What do you guys think? How are they going to spin it? You think, oh, he has a mansion in Florida? I personally don't think that he's going to come to the United States. I think that would be dangerous for him to come to the United States. They might say he's coming to the United States, but somewhere, but he'll go somewhere else. Who knows? And so, yeah, will he get erased? A desperate leader engulfed in scandal with billions unaccounted for, and foreign intelligence services circling. Globalist assets end with handcuffs, exile, or silence. Thank you, Jim Ferguson. Yes, very, very, very good. I'm glad we're finally at the end of that terrible part of this movie, right? Is he preparing to flee? A massive NABU operation has already exposed this criminal network inside the energy sector. Raids on senior officials. Zelensky's former business partner vanishing hours before his arrest. Growing questions about the corruption web. Yeah. And so, let's see what people said. Like I said, if you think it's Israel, hit the thumbs up. If you think UK, hit the 100%. Let's see what people said. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I got to go back and look in. You don't have the chance over that in Telegram, in X to do that, but in Telegram you do. So, yeah, what do you guys think? where's he going to go? So he's been their golden boy, but that is over. And so very, very exciting to see 9 out of 9 wars ended. Praise the Lord. Because it's been a bloodbath. It's just been awful. And I'm so thankful to see that coming to a close. That has been the head of the beast. And so that's another reason that the cabal is panicking, because this has been the head of their corruption in Ukraine. Their bioweapons labs, all this corruption is coming out. Their trafficking of children, the trafficking of drugs, all this is being exposed. Their use of the energy sector, along, of course, with Hunter Biden, all that. It's just the whole thing is corrupt. And so that's the end of it, the head of this horrible beast. All right. And this is such great news. Did you see this? Well, I don't know why you're talking to me. Why are you doing this to me, Grok? I don't want to talk to you right now, Grok. All right. So, did you see President Trump posted that any of these documents that were signed by Sleepy Joe Biden with the auto pen, which was approximately 92%, 92% of his documents were signed by the auto pen. They're hereby terminated. Have no further force or effect. Do you know how much that is? Gigantic. That is huge. They should have gotten him on some kind of drug or whatever to have him sign it without using the auto pen. They never expected President Trump to get back into office. They never expected, him to nullify all of these executive orders, all these pardons. This includes Fauci. So many that they must be shaking in their boots. Very, very exciting. You're not allowed to use an auto pen. That's not what you're allowed to do. Especially, and then look at what he says here. He says Joe Biden was not involved in the auto pen process. And if he says he was, he'll be brought up on charges of perjury. Because everybody knows he was not. Yeah. So he's got him. He's got him. Very, very exciting. So I bet all these who got these pardons, that includes the gang of, they call it the Gang of Eight? The January 6th committee. The ones who did such evil. All this evil to Cheney and all the rest of them. All these ones who were going against the January 6th innocent people, innocent patriots. Their pardons are hereby null and void, terminated. Shifty shift, all that. Bye-bye. All right, so next, did you see this? This is what Pfizer has done, and all these horrific side effects of vaccines are being exposed. This, as President Trump posted, this is a revolution in medicine, so that people understand, the danger of all that they have done to us, and so that people had no idea because they trusted. Look at all these adverse effects. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. That's why we have, like I said, I have the health page over on melissaredpill.com. There are dangers lurking everywhere. There are dangers in the food supply, in the medical supplies, and I just ask you to pray and ask the Lord to guide you on what to do for your health, and just trust. Only trust people that the Lord puts in your heart to trust. That's all I'm going to say. Ask the Lord to show you who you can trust, and He will guide you to the true cure. If you have any of these health maladies, and be very, very careful. Look at all these. Look at this. This is all the side effects from the vaccines. Thank God for President Trump and for RFK exposing all this. What a beautiful thing. This is again going into the golden age of health. 1,000 years of not only peace, but longevity. We're going to have 1,000 years of longevity. Here's the book. I'll post this over on the in the chat also. Here are the books, and if you haven't read the one about the golden age, as I was telling my friend, I said you can read it in any order you want, because all the things happened in the golden age at basically the same time. As soon as the evildoers are out, we'll have the golden age of truth, the golden age of justice, the golden age of peace, the golden age of health, the golden age of good entertainment instead of this demonic stuff. I mean, on and on and on. The good golden age of freedom, and not only for us, but for all the entire world. I'm going to read you a verse real quick in just a second. Here's the book. I hope you enjoy it. It's only $2.99 on Amazon. And so I'm really thankful to have been able to compile these verses that God promised to us in His Word. If you're not familiar with what I do, this is the decode of Revelation. This is very good news. You might want to get someone that for Christmas if they want to, say, hey, you want a different take on Revelation, because especially if it's someone who's kind of has had their eyes open to a lot of the lies, and then they can say, hey, you know what? This is the truth about Revelation. It's the end times for them and 1,000 years of peace for us. Also, the major clues from minor prophets. That verse I read at the beginning, which is Joel chapter 2, is from this. He's one of the minor prophets, and the Lord was telling us about this day. They didn't want us to think about that. They didn't want us to think about this mighty army that would appear, and that you would get to be a part of it. But listen to this: you heard His voice, and you joined because you heard His voice. I just want you to realize and really think about that. You were listening to Him, and you can hear His voice as He speaks to you, and He drew you into to fight for humanity. I was actually talking with the room steward. He's from Bali. Yeah, he's from Bali, and he has to be gone from his family for a long, long time. So I said, in the golden age, the Lord will make Bali great again, and so He doesn't have to leave His children. I don't know if it's going to be done a lot with AI, if we're going to have a lot of this done with, I don't know exactly how a lot of these things are going to happen, but no more. We're going to have these people, it breaks my heart how he's having to, do all that. It's a very difficult situation for him to be away from his family. All right, so let me see what else. There's Zelensky. And I'm not going to go in, I'm not going to play that one. But yeah, so that's Sleepy Joe. That's what President Trump is doing on that. And, oh my goodness, did you see this? Just like so much by Maduro. To all the airline pilots, the airlines, the drug dealers, the traffickers, human traffickers, consider the airspace above and surrounding Venezuela closed in its entirety. Thank you for your attention to this matter. What is going to happen? I don't know. But I just think it's the end of Maduro finally. Finally, these people have suffered unbelievably at the hand of this terrible New World Order puppet. It's just been so awful. And he's fighting tooth and nail to try to stay in power. But he will not. And neither will Zelensky. This is so exciting. So exciting. Here we are on the 30th of November. Now, I posted a video. You probably have seen it. If you go to my X account and you go to the very top, pinned at the top, I'll post the link to it just in case I don't pin it. I'm going to probably put a new one once I get my voice going again. But it's about this beautiful sign in the heavens that's happening on Christmas, about this beautiful angel standing in the sun. And it makes me wonder if, here's the I'll say the star sign in the chat. So do your thing, songbird. Star sign. Here it is. But there's a sign happening of this beautiful star, Venus, standing in the sun on Christmas Day. And we've had before where we take it to the enemy on Christmas Eve. Remember George Washington going to the Hessians. So it's happened before. I think that would be a great day. It would be very much like where joy to the world. The Lord has come. That'd be awesome. That beautiful Christmas song that we sing every year is a song about His second advent. He comes to rule, right? He comes to rule and no more let sin and sorrows grow, nor thorns infest the ground. He comes to make His blessings flow far as the curse is found. This isn't a song about the second advent. It would be appropriate. We'll see. I'm ready any day. I am always say that. Any day would work. But I think it's very interesting. If you haven't seen that sign, this is happening on Christmas Day. That's from Revelation 19, which is when you win the battle. All right. So President Trump had this Christmas message. This Thanksgiving message about cutting out all these income taxes. Now, I was talking with a dear friend, and she was like, "Oh, well, we don't want to, get too excited because we have to have money to run the government." I think that a lot of the money that we'll have will come from the tariffs and from just like they did before they had income tax, before they had all these other taxes. How did we run all these things before? Well, first of all, we're not going to be running a government on the backs. We're not paying for things on our backs for people from all over the world. First of all, and then second of all, when you have dividends, you have that our country is generating revenue because President Trump knows how to make money. Let's just say that right now. He knows how to make money. He can have this country wealthy again, where everything is not on our backs. Just one more straw that finally breaks the camel's back, and so the taxes will be ended. I want you to hear what he has to say on that.
Incomes, I think, was for the next couple of years, I think, will substantially be cutting and maybe cutting out completely, but we'll be cutting income tax. Could be almost completely cutting it because the money we're taking in is going to be so large. I think was for the next couple of years, I think, will substantially be cutting and maybe cutting out completely.
Well, and you guys know that income tax, to tax your wages is not legal. That's what they've been doing. It's been fraudulent. They are not allowed to really tax your income. They can tax, goods, but they can't tax. They're not really supposed to tax your labor. But they've obviously been doing that. And so that's why President Trump will end that. It's fraudulent, it's illegal, and I'm not saying that we won't have some taxes, but I think that it'll be so greatly reduced. And sorry guys, I need to have a chapter in the book on the golden age of no taxes, but actually the one that it talks about the golden age of abundance, and it's really the vision. Read that chapter; I think you'll really like it. That President Trump has a vision of abundance. He knows how to make things wealthy, make our country wealthy, make himself wealthy. He knows how to make it where people are just have plenty. That's why we need him for 2028 and Trump 2032 and Trump 2036, because he's the true golden boy. He knows how to turn things into gold. He's definitely got the Midas touch. And so it will be so different. One of the things I talk about in that chapter is that it's easier for him to fix the problem than for him to help us to have the vision of abundance. So really ask the Lord to help you to have a vision of abundance, that we're going to not be misers and slaves anymore. As it says in Isaiah 40, comfort my people, say your day of servitude is over. I cannot wait. I cannot wait till everyone has what they need and more and plenty. And we don't have to have, because there's obviously, we don't need that much taxes to run the government if you don't have these people stealing from us. Not just the migrants stealing from us, but the ones in Congress stealing from us, and the USAID and all that. So yeah, he will make America wealthy again. Never doubt it. Now, sorry, you guys, I'm going to have to go. So, yeah, I'm doing so much better. But, yeah, okay. So, I posted this. And I don't know how many of you guys saw it, but most people were looking at this little kid, and he's like a little bit freaked out sitting on President Trump's lap. And he's got this checkerboard shorts. All right, so everybody's looking at the little baby, and President Trump is talking to someone on the phone while he's holding this baby. I don't know if this is his new grandbaby. I don't know who's standing right here. I'm thinking, I can't remember her name right now, but anyway, his second daughter. But my attention was focused here, and I said, "You guys, it's not about the baby. It's a calm." Did you guys see this? Did you see it? This is Perseus, and this is Andromeda. Perseus is right here in the red, and holding poor Andromeda, who has just been left helpless and penniless, and she's in a desperate plight. And so Perseus comes at the last second and saves her. This is what the post was about. This is why President Trump posted this. It's not about the baby. It's not about her. It's not about his hat. It's not about him talking on the phone. It's about this. It's about this. Perseus represents Christ saving his bride. And so this is the beautiful sign in the heavens. If you've ever seen Andromeda, it's kind of hard, one of the harder ones to see, and it's very, very close to Pisces, and which is chained to the Cetus, the sea monster. And so Andromeda means the woman who is chained. And so it's us, it's humanity, not just Christians, not just, it includes Muslims, it includes my wonderful friend from Bali, who's a Hindu. All the people of the world have been under this terrible oppression and have been chained, and they're good people, righteous people, but they're not they don't worship Satan. They do not worship Satan. They just want to live their lives and be able to spend time with their raise their children. Anyway, so we've all been chained, and then in the picture of with all the stars, remember how the Lord knows the stars by name? Then the stars, it talks about that she's get this image in your mind of what's happened to her. She's chained. That's not what I wanted to do. Oh no, where'd it go? Where did it go? I want you to see that picture. I just lost it. What did I do with it? Bear with me real quick. I'm going to see if I can find it for you because I want to show that to you. Okay, where did you go? Bear with me real quick, everybody. I'm going to see if I can find that because it's really, really cool. And I don't know what I did with it. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Andromeda? Okay, maybe that's this one. I think that might be it. Well, that's not the one I wanted you to see. That's so strange. That's so strange. Okay. It's okay. All right, so I will show you this one. This one's a pretty good one. B&G. Sorry about that. We're doing this on the fly. On the fly. Andromeda. Okay. So, if you notice here, she has her arm chained behind her. Do you see that right here? Her arm is chained behind her. And the image is that she is, let's see if I can get back to where I can actually see you guys. She's behind this rock. Okay, here we go. Now I see you. Okay. All right. She's behind this or chained to a rock, and that she is just about naked. Just about everything's been taken from her. They were so jealous of her that they chained her to this rock, and the water is splashing on her. That she's constantly being a barrage of this cold water. So she's in a desperate plight. And then on top of that sea monster I was just showing you about, that sea monster is coming to devour her. Not having a good day. Okay? So here she is, again, Andromeda, and you see Perseus is right here. He's holding the head of Medusa with the snakes on her head. Perseus has defeated this evil Medusa, cutting off her head, and he's taking this head and will show it to the sea monster. And as soon as the sea monster sees that face, the sea monster, New World Order, will crumble. This is in the heavens. The Lord put this in the heavens for us, and you know this because the names of the stars. Okay. So as soon as the sea monster is destroyed, so he's not only destroyed Medusa, but now he's destroyed the sea monster, New World Order, and then he scoops up Andromeda and takes her to safety and marries her. And as I was saying before, this is really from Revelation 19. This is the wedding feast. And I wouldn't be surprised, as I was saying before, I wouldn't be surprised if that is happening. Where did I put it? We've got a lot going on. A lot is happening. And there is a woman, there is a star that's in the sun on Christmas Day this year. Again, like the angel standing in the sun, which is Venus. Very, very interesting. We will see. There's Andromeda right there. There's Perseus. And so this is what President Trump was showing us. It wasn't about the baby. I'm like, what is this picture? What is this? And I'm like, what is that? You see, poor Andromeda is just, has been in a desperate plight. Well, he saves her at the very last second. And this goes along with Daniel chapter 9. It says that that they'll be rescued. Humanity will be rescued, but not by human hand. When sin is at its height, when evil is at its height, they'll be rescued, but not by human hand. And so the picture is, you think of, let me show you this one. See just the sea monster, like on the Clash of the Titans, going to devour us. This is where they brought humanity to this pinnacle where they have taken over every country. Like I said, we were just in Mexico, and it's so high, it's just completely controlled, right? As well as Venezuela. All these countries are just controlled by the cabal. And so finally, though, they were trying to take over America, right? Completely control America. And that's the whole point of the voting machines to be used to control America, installing their puppet leaders. They said we don't even have to fire a shot. We just control the elections and we control the country. And so they are this terrible sea monster that can devour us and basically destroy America, because at what percent is America no longer a sovereign country, right? Well, we're at 53%, not foreign. They're foreign born. How many people that are in our country truly love America and truly understand what America is about, to be the bastion of freedom. Anyway, so yeah, I thought that was awesome that President Trump was showing this beautiful sign in the heavens, this beautiful constellation of the Christ figure rescuing his beautiful bride and then having the wedding. How about that? Isn't that great, you guys? I loved it. So, okay, now let me see what else. I did that to show you, and it goes along with this passage here that I don't have the time to read it today because my breath is not 100% yet. But the story of the woman at the well is a person who is of a different religion. She's not of the Jewish faith. She's not of someone who understood God's word, but she believed in God. She worshiped God the best she could. She just didn't understand. And so, with his knees. Sorry. And so they're having this conversation, and they get into this religious debate. And so at one point when Jesus is calling her out that, she's had 5 husbands and the one she's with is not her husband, she's like, oh, let's talk about a religious debate. Let's not talk about my issues. Let's talk about a religious debate. She said, oh, I see, you're a prophet. She says, and so she changed the subject. She says, our fathers worshipped on this mountain. Basically the best they could. They worshipped the Lord the best they knew how. Like the Hindu people, like the Muslim people. Even Christians, we still have had a lot of misunderstanding, especially on end times. And, the Jewish people, everybody has had some kind of misunderstanding, one thing or another. And so our fathers worshipped on this mountain. And you say that the Jews worship in Jerusalem, and that's the place where we ought to worship. Who's right? So she brings it into a religious debate. And he says, neither one is the issue. Woman, believe me, the hour is coming when you will neither worship on this mountain nor in Jerusalem. The hour is coming when you will neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem worship the Father. You worship what you don't know. We know what we worship, for salvation is from the Jews. But the hour is coming, and now is, when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. For the Father is seeking such to worship him. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth. And that's what's going to happen in the golden age. That everyone, as it says, remember which chapter this one is, but in this book, The Golden Age, there's a chapter on faith. It's called, maybe it's the one on righteousness, chapter 15 on righteousness, or the one on new life. either way, one of those chapters is talking about how everyone will know him, from the least to the greatest. That means Hindus, Muslims, Buddhists. They will all worship him in spirit and in truth. No more deception. The Bible says for 1,000 years. I love it. Come on, golden age, let's go. So the hour is coming, and now is when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father is seeking such to worship him. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth. The Lord knows if someone has a heart for him, a heart for righteousness, or they have a heart of deception. And we're finding there are a lot of people who are in leadership in the church who are false prophets. I'm just saying. We found that out. With this TPUSA thing is horrible. Anyway, the woman said, I know the Messiah is coming, who's called the Christ. And when he comes, he will tell us all these things. And Jesus said, I who speak to you am he. This is in John chapter 4. I love this. I love this because she said that she knew that the Messiah will explain all these things. And that's what we're looking forward to, is for the Lord, and that's what we're actually seeing played out, that everyone's coming together all over the world. You see it with the cute video I just posted, I think last night, of Vladimir Putin, shaking the hand of Soleimani. Two that should be diametrically opposed, right? But they're not, because they realize they're on the same team. They both are worshiping the Lord. Maybe they don't have none of us have every little detail worked out, but they're on the side of righteousness. That's the issue. That's the issue. So let's make sure that we don't fall into the trick and the trap of the enemy who's trying to keep us fighting each other instead of focusing on them. All right? Whether it's like we just at the very beginning of this video, we were talking about what happened with this National Guard person being shot. Who are we really fighting? It's not the Afghan people. It's not the migrants. It's not the Muslims. It's the criminal cabal. It's the CIA operatives who've infiltrated, right? So let's keep our eye on that. And so he will explain all these things to us. And the great news is, you guys, he's doing that for us now. That's the only way that we are able to piece these things together, is because of his spirit. This is we seek him. We say, Lord, guide us into all truth. And that's what he's doing, so that we know how to truly fight in the proper way. As Paul says, I'm not buffeting. I buffet my body and make it my slave. I don't just beat the air. I want to make sure that I'm being effective in my efforts. Right? Remember Paul saying that? We want to be effective in what we're doing, so that we're not trying to get people upset at Muslims or upset, but really focusing. That's why they're attacking us. That's why they continually attack our channel, is because we are focusing people's attention on the true criminals, and we're supporting President Trump. They hate that, and that makes me very happy. Okay, here's the link right here. I'll show you this one. Right now, they're having this special sale, 30% off of everything. I'll go ahead and give you the link. Everything store-wide, everything is 30% off. So definitely check into that. It's going on through, I don't know what date, but anyway, go ahead and get whatever you need. That's the detox. The detox for your intestines. It's the Televital for the longevity. It's the super nutrients. All these things. Go to freedomforce.live/detox. I'm going to grab that link too real quick while we're here. And I wanted to show you that one more. There was one more thing real quick before we go. freedomforce.live/detox. I'm going to give you that link so you can learn more about it. And like I said, someone had asked me to make videos of all these things so that we understand what these things are. These are all 30% off right now, so I'll post them over onto the chat. All right, Songbird, please put this in the comments. Thank you so much, darling. All right, so the last thing I was going to show you, and I don't know if I have handy. I have it. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I've posted this yet, but Candace Owens has been coming out with a lot of truth about the Macron, right? About Brigitte Macron, and then about TPUSA, and now, and the connection of who really was behind this terrible attack. Again, whether The truth, we'll eventually know the whole truth about what really happened and what's the truth about it. But either way, it is exposing, whether Charlie is alive or not, it is exposing this, how they do this. They do these hostile takeovers. And let me see if I can find this. Candace, French whistleblower. I think that's it. I had it earlier, but I'll see if I can find it super quick. That's not it. Okay, this is it. Okay, I'm going to do this super quick. Okay, I want you to hear this because this is how they do it. This is how they do it. And it's, to be honest, it's terrifying because I'll try to turn it up and so you can hear it because it's kind of hard to understand because he's got an accent. But they are doing this to silence Candace. So we're going to pray for Candace before we go. Check this out.
Vision. For 21 years, I ran black contracts in Africa, Middle East, and yes, sometimes on your soil. Tonight, I break every oath I ever took. 2 days ago, a priority cable landed on my desk. Opération Poignard. Target Candace wins. Client, Unit 8200 liaison embedded inside the Elysee. Payment routed through a shell in Cyprus we have used since the Rainbow Warrior days. The directive is explicit. Quote, eliminate the subject during live broadcast. Maximum visceral impact. The blade must be visible. The audience must feel the cut. They want her open from sternum to pelvis while the red light is on. They want the chat scrolling, no, 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 as her intestines hit the desk. That trauma is the secondary payload. Primary payload is you, the viewers. Break the Americans who still speak against Israel. Make the rest too afraid to open their mouths. And frame it as a jihadi attack to push their geopolitical agenda. Their usual modus operandi. The team is already in country. 4 operators, 2 ex-Legion Blade specialists from Corsica, 1 woman involved in the job on that Saudi journalist in Istanbul, and a spotter who was in the crowd in Utah. They have our studio floor plan, they have the shift change of our security. 2 of our own circle accepted crypto for information 2 weeks ago. When she cancelled this week's shows, the orders updated immediately. Mobile kill box. Wherever she surfaces next, whether it's an emergency stream, even a goddamn parking lot live stream, they are planning to be there. I sent her the precaution through a cutout she trusts. Burner rules, no GPS devices, no routines. But she is stubborn. She thinks exposure protects her. It does not. It is the bait. If she goes live again without changing her voice print, without hard encryption, without ditching every person who has been within 10 meters of her in the last month, she is as good as dead. They will let her speak for 5 minutes, long enough for the bot to boost the clip, then the feed will show exactly what they want the world to see. I am recording this because when they find me, I want there to be a record. This is not rogue, this is policy, signed at the highest level. Tell her, do not trust any American agency that offers protective custody. More than half of them are penetrated. Tell her the only safe move is to disappear completely for 90 days. After that, maybe the war they are planning will make her irrelevant.
That is so outrageous. That is so outrageous. And it's intended to strike fear, but we already know. I mean, she knows what happened, to Charlie and JFK and different ones. So they've got a lot of assets in place. As it said on there, some people have taken crypto money that work directly with her. That is what he's saying. Whether that's true or not, we don't. I don't know. But it's enough to cause concern. So and they want it to be, as you heard, they want it to be during her live broadcast, and for the people to see this. And they said that they've done everything to try to silence her, but she's stubborn. She's stubborn. No doubt she is. So let's pray for her before we go, and for everyone who is fighting the criminal cabal. Thank you, Lord, for our wonderful president. Thank you, Lord, for all the wonderful ones who are on the front lines in these very dangerous situations. We lift up Candace Owens. We lift up the National Guard. We lift up every one of the ones who's on the front lines and who has been put themselves in harm's way. And Lord, we ask that you would strengthen us and help our bodies to overcome all the attacks of the enemy. And Lord, we pray that you'd help them to be able to figure out who is threatening this, as Candace was saying, and to put a stop to this, to expose the true evildoers and to root them out and bring them down. And we pray again for Rakesh Patel and all these who are right there trying to root out the evil from the CIA and the FBI. It's just got to be removed root and branch, Lord. We cannot be saved except you save us. Just like this beautiful image of Perseus and Andromeda. We are your bride, and we've been put in these desperate situations, but you alone can rescue us, and we are putting our trust in you that you will rescue us from our enemies. He's the strong man, but you are stronger. You are able to deliver us from our enemies, for our health, for our finances, for our safety, all these things. We pray all this in your wonderful name, King Jesus. Amen. I love you guys. I'm going to go I'm going to see Dr. Laura at Prescribing Life, and she's going to fix me up like she did last time. If you're not familiar with that, she does neural therapy, prescribinglife.com, and to remove all these toxins. And so I'm very thankful that I have the true treatment instead of something that just makes you sicker. And don't forget to check out all this great information over on the detox page, and definitely get the 30% off right now that's going on right now. And I hope you enjoy also the books, The Golden Age. Oh, don't forget to support our wonderful Mike Lindell, mypillow.com/Melly. All right, guys, I love you. Thank you, Awakened One. I'll be A-okay. Hopefully by the time I talk to you on Tuesday, I'll be 110,000%. Okay, so I love you guys. I guess I better go, and I'll play the little clip of this before we go, and I will talk to you later. The earthquake position. They break through the defenses without missing a step. They swarm over the city and run along its walls. They enter all the houses, climbing like thieves through the windows. The earth quakes as they advance, and the heavens tremble. The sun and moon grow dark, and the stars no longer shine. The Lord is at the head of the column. He leads them with a shout. This is his mighty army, and they follow his orders.